I would like to introduce the members of the energy regulator that are going to deliberate on today's matters and take decisions. I'll start with myself. My name is Nomfundo Maseti. I am the chairperson of for today's meeting, and I'm the member of the I'm the member primarily responsible for pipe gas as well as electricity. With me today, I am joined by the chairperson of the energy regulator, Mr. Tembani Pukula. I would like Mr. Pukula to introduce himself. Great.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pukula. Next, I would like to introduce another member of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee, as well as the chairperson of the Audit and Risk for NERSA, and the member of other committees of the Energy Regulator, Madam Precious Simia.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, NERSA colleagues, and good morning, fellow regulator members, and also the public joining us on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The other member that is with us today to take decisions is Mr. Musuvukile Mkhize, who is the member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines and is also the member of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee and other various committees of the Energy Regulator. Mr. Mkhize, may you please greet?
Thanks, Chair, everyone on the call, as well as members of the public that are following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize, and to the other members. Members, I would like to proceed straight to the adoption of the agenda, item number 3. With regards to the published agenda, members, there are some few adjustments. Item number 6, item number 8, as well as item number 11 will be discussed under governance section of today's meeting. There's also a proposal that item number 12 must be discussed immediately after item number 5. Those are just the adjustments that have been proposed. I would like to request members to raise their hands to approve the agenda with those adjustments by show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Smia. I also support and approve the agenda. Thank you very much, members. Members, there are declaration forms that have been uploaded. If you could kindly complete the forms, submit them to Mr. Dlamini for the record. With that, members, I would like to check if there's any verbal declaration by show of hands. It seems there's none, then we take note of that. We go straight to the consideration of the matters that require our decisions. Item number 5, the final assessment of Egoli Gas Pty Ltd's application for the maximum gas price. The period is 1st March 2025 until 28 February 2026. Please introduce the matter to the members.
Good morning, Chair, members and colleagues. Thank you, Chair. I'd like to just bring members' attention to the first correction on page 2, on paragraph 2.1.2. It's supposed to read the reasons for decision and not the decision and reasons for decision. And on paragraph 4.7 on page 4, that acquisition cost reflected as confidential includes the 5% reseller discount. Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this submission is to request the PGS to recommend to the energy regulator to approve Egoli Gas's maximum price for the period 1 March 2025 to 28 February 2026, and the reasons for decision attached as Annexure A. Chair, the application was received by NERSA on the 8th of April 2025, and it was considered as adequate. Chair, the applicant indicated that the delay in submitting the application was due to them awaiting a final decision of another licensee's maximum gas price application. Therefore, this delay, Chair, we will ensure that the applicant will now will enforce their license conditions that they apply 4 months before the end of the tariff period ends. Chair, on table 1 and 2 on page 3, it shows that Egoli Gas is applying for a maximum price of gas of 151 rand and 14 cents per gigajoule for end user customers, and 143 rand and 58 cents per gigajoule for resellers. Chair, NERSA's assessment of Egoli Gas's application in table 3 and 4 resulted in a difference of 4.94% for end user customers and 4.93% for resellers. Chair, the difference in tables 3 and 4 are as a result of the work in the trading cost and the trading cost work and tax calculation. The difference in the work, Chair, can be attributable to the difference in the beta calculation, as NERSA used the published beta benchmark, calculating using the prescribed source, which was Bloomberg, and updated as at 16 January 2025, whilst Egoli Gas used S&P IQ database as at 28 February 2025. Then, Chair, the difference in the tax calculation can be explained as a result of the incorrect application of the flow-through tax calculation as prescribed in the tariff guidelines. NERSA communicated this with the licensee. However, the licensee requested NERSA to continue with the application. Chair, the difference for both the reseller and end user customers are less than 10% and can be considered acceptable, Chair. Chair, the recommendations on paragraph 14 on page 13. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions of clarity on the submission that has just been presented? Madam Sbiya, you may go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the presenter. Chair, a small issue on the beta. Why are we using different sources, S&P, and also using the different times? Is there a specific time that we have to use? Because I'm assuming the latest will be the one that you can use, because maybe for this one, the difference is small. There can be cases where the difference is huge. Is there any way in our methodology where we can accommodate this so that we can use almost a similar, not the same, but almost a similar when we are dealing with the beta, because it will have an impact on WACC and also the calculations that we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Sbiya. Members, did you take note of this now? This is going to be a new trend. If you look at table number 7, you will see now there's a cost now that is being added, which is the unaccounted for gas. Then this is going to require us to scrutinize the item that deals with the monthly volume balance. And the other licensee that these ones were waiting for, it also claimed the unaccounted for gas. Or we may need to look at this aspect separately outside of this meeting, and see if this is something that we want customers to be paying for and what exactly it means, and whether all of the licensees must now start claiming this unaccounted for gas. And the amount that is requested is not insignificant. The customers will have to pay for it. So it's something that we can discuss outside of the meeting. All that I wanted to indicate in terms of these costs that are now being requested by the licensee, it's this new thing that they're adding, just for members to take note of it, and then we can discuss it outside of the meeting. And these licenses will also just bring their they are still going to do the RRMs, and also for the audits, and we can also get an opportunity if there's anything to verify and also indicate our position when it comes to unaccounted for gas, and how are we going to do our due diligence there and hold them accountable if this now is going to have a cost associated with it to be recovered. Are members happy with that approach? Having noted this, Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks, Chairperson. Maybe I'll get the clarification on the trading regulatory asset base being confidential in the governance part of the meeting, just for me to be assisted. I'm not so sure concerning allowing 100% of what is applied for as unaccounted gas, even if we proceed with this one, because I think that there are aspects that you say even the supplier takes into consideration that you are going to have maybe it's like technical losses along the way. To say then if you've got those technical losses, should they really be fully compensated for? I thought if the understanding is that if in our determination we are going to come up with a different percentage that would be allowed, that percentage will then be clawed back. I think if the clawback principle is going to apply, then I'm fine with us proceeding in this manner. I think if it is said we're allowing it like this, subject to finalizing how this should be compensated for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Let's go straight to the responses. Tim, there's a question of clarification by Madam Sibia and also the concern raised by Mr. Mkhize. Please respond straight to the point.
Thank you, Chair. On Ms. Sibia's question, Chair, there is a prescribed source that is indicated to licensees, which is Bloomberg, that all licensees need to use Bloomberg when determining the beta calculation. And then NERSA also publishes the benchmark beta on the website on an annual basis. So the licensees have access to this information on the NERSA website, Chair. And then on Mr. Mkhize's comments, Chair.
The timing.
Timing. Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair. The timing of the beta calculation is done on an annual basis once a year, and it's published, and the report is submitted to the energy regulator for it to note the updated beta calculation. So the timing of it does create a difference in the calculation. So when someone determines it in February and compared to the NERSA benchmark,
she does understand that. She does understand that the issue of the timing. She spoke about the recent information. Ms. Makota, you had your hand up.
Yes, Chairperson, what we do is that on a quarterly basis, we publish the required information. Now, the challenge with Igoli is that they didn't use the information that is updated, that is published by NERSA on a quarterly basis. There is a submission that we also send to the PGS, which now calculate the MRP and the risk-free rate. And it also assists with the differences like this. And we've done that really to ensure that there is consistency. Now, the challenge here with Igoli is that they didn't follow the prescribed source. And secondly, they didn't follow what is published, which is approved by the PGS. And hence that differences on the work. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can we then go to the question, the issue that is raised by Mr. Mkhize on the unaccounted for gas? We also need others to just clarify that principle of the unaccounted for gas. What really is that cost for in the first place? What is it that they are claiming for here? The losses. And then we also do not know the amount. So hence Mr. Mkhize is raising the issue of a clawback principle. Can we get a clear answer there?
Yes, Chairperson, in terms of the unaccounted gas, the benchmark that we use is that it must not be above 1%. And that was informed by the volume balance analysis that is done by GLC. In terms of what exactly is that, I think I want to ask the GLC colleagues to explain that. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe just to come in and assist with regard to that unaccounted for gas. Essentially what it means is the gas that gets lost due to operational conditions in the pipeline or in the course of the transportation of the gas or the molecule from point A to point B. So if maybe let's say 5 million gigajoules were pumped from the point of the supply, by the supplier, and what comes out on the other side, and the gas then that gets lost in the process of that transmission or transportation of the gas is what is technically or usually referred to as unaccounted for gas. But maybe just to add another aspect with regard to the proposal that Mr. Mkhize is making, and I think we agree with that proposal in the sense that this now is something that the licenses are claiming for the first time. So it might be unfair to actually saddle the customers with this, and especially just as a new feature in terms of the regulation of these aspects. So we would agree that perhaps it should be considered in terms of dealing with it under clawback, so that way then it would hopefully impact, and it can also be accounted for over a period instead of basically being introduced abruptly, maybe in a way that might shock the customers. Chairperson, I think that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. For the record also, we need to look into the appropriateness of this unaccounted for gas to be recovered through the molecule part, the charge for the molecule. As we all know that these are things that have to do with the operation of the pipeline, and we issue licenses for the operation of the pipeline. So is this something that must be recovered from the molecule part, especially with the Gas Act, because we only look at the charge, the price is the charge for the molecule. And this one has to do with the efficiencies of operating a pipeline, and also any other bottlenecks that are encountered in the pipeline, which the operator of the pipeline needs to take care of. Now, the question is the appropriateness of this cost, whether this is the cost that must be recovered through the charge for the molecule, or whether this is the cost that must be looked at through the charge for service. So I just wanted to bring that aspect, because these are the things that we must take into account. I know that in the other licensee as well, it appeared for the first time. Let me take Mr. Mkhize and go to Mr. Pugula. I raised that issue deliberately, members, so that at least you know, because it seems the team does not bring up these things. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize.
Thank you. There is a principle that applies across all industries, especially, let me say, the industries that we regulate. There are technical losses, there are ocean losses if a product is being shipped from the high seas to South Africa. Here, there's a certain percentage. If the standard says 1%, then you can accommodate that 1% and not more. it should be an industry standard which talks to an efficient operator, because once you've got more than that, it means that you are inefficient, and then that bill must be on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Bukul?
Thank you, Chair. I think Mr. Mkhize covers the one part of what I wanted to raise, because even in what we are writing, we are talking about things that are uncollectible and bad debts, and that's the non-technical side of the losses. And I think what I think my small struggle is in that you may want to compensate an entity for bad debts and all of that. I mean, like we have done in the other entity that we regulate, but you also have to give the reasons of the level of that compensation that you want to give. But then the technical losses, I really am fine with us allowing the 1% around the technical losses. I know I'm not assisting, I'm probably compounding the problem, but thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Chairperson, Mr. Pukula. The issue of whether this must be allowed through the price or through the tariff, because remember, it has to do with the operation of the pipeline, and then there's a cost. So it is also very important as our principle whether we are now taking a stance that says we will recover it through the price or through the tariffs. And this licensee does not operate, because we don't know where the losses are occurring. As you will all know that it buys, it uses the natural gas. So obviously that natural gas lands in Secunda. And then from Secunda, it gets transported through the Sasol pipeline. Then the jurisdiction of this one for the pipeline, it starts somewhere here in Gauteng. So that also becomes important in terms of the quantum of the portion, because how much gas then gets lost and all of that. So I think that becomes important. The appropriateness, whether we attribute it to the molecule or to the operation of the pipeline. I will leave it at that, colleagues, as I indicated earlier on, that this is something that we may need to discuss outside of this meeting, just so that we get the principles right, and so that we know now whether all the licensees, the traders, independent traders, will, even if they don't own pipeline, they will now talk about unaccounted for gas. So I'm also a bit worried, because it will be an additional cost, and I can see this coming from two or more of the traders that do not own a pipeline. With that, then, members, and with the clarification that has been provided, and the fact that the issue of the unaccounted for gas, we also need to look at carefully, and also the fact that only 1% will be allowed for this licensee, subject to the clawback and the audits that will be conducted by the independent auditors at the behest of the energy regulator within the context of the RRMs. The members now are taken to item number 14, which are the recommendations for the decision. The Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to recommend to the energy regulator to approve Egoli Gas's application for the maximum gas price of the maximum gas price that is indicated in table 4. The components are confidential, but the maximum price itself is 151 rands 14 cents per gigajoule per annum. That is to the end user customers. Egoli Gas also sells to other traders, and table 11 is then the maximum price that Egoli Gas would be allowed to charge anything below that maximum price of 143 rands 58 cents per gigajoule, and members to just note the amount of that 5% discount that will be granted. With that, members, the period of the prices is 1st March 2025 until 28 February 2025, and this is subject also to verification through the audits that are permitted under the RRMs. By show of hands, members, if you are in support of the recommendation to the regulator. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Pugula. Thank you, Madam Sbiya. Thank you, members, for the decision. Members, we're going to item number 12. Item number 12 is the preliminary assessment of SLCNG Pty Ltd's application for a maximum price of gas. The period is 1st July 2025 until 30 June 2026. It is here, members, for noting of the discussion document and also to publish it for comment. Please take us through the submission.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Just hold on. Is the hands Mr. Mkhize and Madam Sbiya? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Sikenu, please take us through the submission.
Thank you, Chairperson. Before the committee is the application by SLCNG. SLCNG is applying for a maximum price of 336.79 cents per gigajoule for the period 1 July 2025 to 30 June 2026. The application was received on the 14th of May 2025. NESA has assessed the application in line with the cost plus methodology, tariff guidelines, Gas Act, and the regulations. Table 1 shows the application as submitted by SLCNG. Table 2 shows the calculations by NESA and SLCNG. And then the difference is 146 due to the difference in the trading cost. SLCNG is also applying for the quarterly adjustment of the molecule. This has been allowed because NESA will, in line with the supplier's contract, NESA has allowed and will monitor this adjustment. Table 3 shows the calculation of the trading margin. We have allowed the elements that have been applied for by the applicant subject to the audit of the RFRs. The difference between NESA and SLCNG calculation is 130. It's 1.33%. I would like we are requesting the committee to note the preliminary assessment as presented and approve the publication of the consultation document. Thank you, Chairperson. The recommendations are outlined in paragraph 14. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sikenu. Members, any questions of clarity, guidance by show of hands? Okay, it seems members have no comments, Ms. Sikenu. Members, I would like to then take you to the decision part. The decision part is on paragraph 14. The Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to note the preliminary assessment of SLCNG Pty Ltd's application for the maximum gas price for the period July 2025 until 30 June 2026. And secondly, the subcommittee is requested to approve the publication of the consultation document on the preliminary assessment for public comment, with the confidential information being protected as shown in Annexure A. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Sbia. I also support that takes care of item 12, with came immediately under item number 5. We're now going to item number 7, the first quarter progress report on construction licenses issued by the energy regulator.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, the members.
The voice, please, the sound.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, the members, management, and staff. Chair, I would like to bring a small but important correction to your attention. The number of construction licenses issued by NERSA as referenced in the report in paragraph 4.1 is actually 118, not 113. Thank you, Chair. This is a first quarter progress report on the construction licenses issued by NERSA during the 2025 to 2026 financial year. Since September 2006, the energy regulator has granted a total of 118 licenses for the construction of the gas facilities across the Gauteng, Free State, Mpumalanga, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal provinces. To date, licensees have invested about 9.36 billion rands in the gas infrastructure within South Africa. The specific amounts invested in each project are detailed in Annexure A in the report. Currently, 101 construction facilities have been completed, while 17 projects remain incomplete. The list of these facilities is provided in Annexure A. Additionally, the status of revoked construction licenses stands at 7. The details of these revoked licenses can be found in Annexure C in the report. The status of LNG licensees who have not yet commenced construction of their facilities is highlighted in the report from paragraph 6.6 to 6.19. In response, the NERSA team has issued letters of non-compliance to all the licensees who have not commenced construction within the stipulated 36-month period. Some specific cases to note is that DNG Energy reported significant challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in operational delays, restricted funding access, and severe disruptions to engineering and procurement activities. These factors have delayed their project timelines by approximately 18 to 24 months. Powership has not yet responded to NERSA's non-compliance letter. The team will continue to follow up on this matter, and should Powership fail to respond, NERSA will enforce the compliance mechanisms which are outlined in paragraph 6.11 in the report. LNG Hub met with the NERSA team to explain delays in their project commencement and to clarify regulatory requirements for their Richards Bay import regas distribution depot project. NERSA has provided guidance in line with the Gas Act. The licensee is preparing to submit an amendment license application. Volco Alpha submitted an application to amend its license for regasification and storage on the 30th of March 2025. The amendment was approved during the REC meeting, which was held on the 1st of July 2025. Pula Energy indicated that challenges in the domestic natural gas market caused delays. They have secured a supply agreement with an international LNG supplier for the delivery in the South African ports. Ongoing engagements are taking place regarding their trading license, and the energy regulator has requested quarterly progress reports from Pula Energy. In conclusion, Chair, we request that the members should take note of the construction progress report for the first quarter of the 2025 to 2026 financial year. Additionally, to also note that no new construction projects were undertaken during this quarter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions of clarity? Madam Sbia, please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the presenter. Chair, just looking at those matters of non-compliance that we have, just for the team to confirm, because I saw some sort of non-consistency. How do we ensure consistency so that we don't get challenged in the future? Let me make an example. Car powership, we are already saying because they have not responded following us sending the non-compliance letter, we are ready to go the enforcement route. But then now, when we go to Pula Energy, we are in the phase of doing negotiations with them or talking to them, although their license expired in March 2025. I think the difference between the two is that they responded. So I just wanted the team to be cautious on those issues, to say, how can we have it in our legislation to say, can we address this non-compliance and stick to the legislation with how we deal with matters of non-compliance? Yes, there will be instances where we have to understand the reasons, because both of them have reasons. The other one we don't know because they have not responded, Car Powership SA, but Pula Energy has responded. But I think we need to be cautious when we are dealing with these matters and see if we can and not bring in any legal challenges when we are dealing with them. Because for me, the issue of lack of non-response from Car Powership can be because of many reasons. But I think the team needs to be very cautious when they are dealing with these matters, Chair. It's a comment from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Madam Spear. Mr. Nkis?
Thanks, Chairperson. Without necessarily repeating what Madam Spear has said, I think we just need to be to do better, actually, in terms of crafting the paragraphs that pertain to compliance monitoring and enforcement. For example, we shouldn't be talking of that the NESA team can enforce the following. I think it should be clear that these are the next steps that are being that we are going to follow, because we do have an enforcement framework. That these are the things that are soon going to follow. We are now on step 2. We are going to be going to this step, so that we don't. We are seen to be consistent, and we also like talking of negotiation sometimes, which I don't think that we as a regulator we should be putting ourselves in that. Like there's a term there, there's a sentence, for example, to say the team will continue conducting car powership, or what, because we've got a framework. Let's just follow that framework to the T. If there's non-compliance letters or notices issued, we do that. Then that takes us now to the revocation stage. We just do that with no fear or favor. And then the other issue that I just want to highlight is, gas was touted as, the transitional fuel. I remember way back even in 2007, when the IEA said that it was a golden era of gas that is going to be ushered. And we had a light-handed, we still have a light-handed approach to the regulation of gas. But I'm not so sure whether it's taking off. I'm not so sure. I'm sure that it's not. It has not taken off the way we had envisaged. And when we're talking of these construction licenses, talking of all these things, I think let us also come up with recommendations that now talk to the actual industry itself now, what we need to do as a regulator to improve investment into the sector and the growth of the sector as was originally envisaged. And at the same time, what we need to do as a regulator, what the policymaker maybe needs to do. What are the trends? What are we foreseeing for the future? Because there is a part that we need to play for the sector to grow. It's just that aspect for me that I think somehow is missing in the report. Maybe in future reports, please just consider that, because we should not be the ones that are not assisting in terms of getting this sector to grow, or the ones that have not done our utmost for this sector to grow. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Can you please, Tim, just respond on the comments on the first one, car powership, and the other one for inconsistency?
To respond to Mrs. Bia's comment, we will continue sending follow-up with car powership. Should car powership fail to respond, then that's when the team will take an action in terms of enforcing the compliance mechanisms, which were mentioned on paragraph 6.11. And then I will ask.
No. We're not clarifying this because there's a reason why there's a difference here. Can we get the executive manager to respond like they do in other committees?
Thank you, Chairperson. I think the point that is made by members, and we've taken note of that point, is that really there needs to be decisiveness in how we deal with, from a point of view of compliance enforcement. So what we'll do with the car powership, already there is a notice of non-compliance or a letter of non-compliance issued to them. So we're going to follow that through, basically utilizing the process that is outlined with regard to non-compliance, including the notice of non-compliance. And if they still don't comply, then we move to the final stage of basically, NESA sitting perhaps as a tribunal or even consider revoking the license. Chairperson, I think that is the point that we're taking from members, and I think that is what is going to be implemented. But with regard to the other aspect that Mr. Mkhize also raised, I think it's just an enhancement in the sense of ensuring that really the way that we craft these submissions, we will in future accommodate all those aspects in terms of the input that is made, in terms of how to approach some of these sentences, and basically to deliver a message that is more concise with regard to what is it that we intended to communicate. So that will be done as an improvement, Chairperson. And then that will also be applied. I think that's the other point that Ms. Sibia was making. That will then be applied in terms of just ensuring consistency around all these issues or instances of non-compliance, so that what we do to the one, we also do similarly to the others. And we do appreciate the fact that there would be differences in terms of the facts of each case and the merits of each situation. We'll factor that in, but in terms of ensuring that we do it in a more consistent way, we'll make sure that going forward, basically, there is fairness and consistency in how we're going to approach this matter. But I think the key message is there's going to be decisiveness with regard to how we would basically deal with them. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We are not dealing with the reason why there is inconsistency here. We are really not dealing with it. Maybe we can, because the reason here is that the action that was taken is in terms of section 26(1), that the regulator must first issue a notice of non-compliance, which was issued. And then it says that when you issue the notice of non-compliance, in that notice of non-compliance, you must require the licensee to give them, you must give them time to put some remedies to the non-compliance. Now, if this licensee did not even care to show cooperation and did not indicate to the energy regulator that it acknowledges its non-compliance and that these are the remedies that it will put in place, and also the period of time. It also talks, that section 26.1, about the reasonable period to put the remedies in place. So it did not even indicate what remedies it will put in place and the period of time it needs to put the remedies in place. So that is the difference here as to why this one is treated in this manner. So the other one has responded and indicated what is it that it is going to put in place now in line with what section 26.1, which was invoked, what it says in terms of the remedies. So it responded to the remedy that it will put in place to say that it is now going to import and what is going to happen. And then also there's an issue of the timing also, which is that aspect that is mentioned in section 26.1 of the reasonable period within which such remedies must be put in place. So that is the reason here. And that should have been acknowledged by the team, that there's actually no inconsistency, but to assist the members with what that section says, and you followed that section. Hence, then, there is a sub A there that says, now that they failed to respond with the first part of section 26, which is 26.1, the next step should be section 26 sub 2, which then says the regulator must sit as a tribunal to commence then the proceedings. That's why there's A. If the regulator sees that there's no value, because in any event they were going to use this gas to convert it into electrons to generate electricity. So if that is not going to take place anyway, maybe this A is not the feasible option, then the regulator will go for option B. So all of that has been stated there. The team should have clarified it in that manner. You can drop your hand, Mr. Ngumalo. Madam Sbia, is there any follow-up? You've got your hand up.
No, Chair. I don't know what's wrong with my
Nice.
hand today. Yeah. Apologies. Thank you, Chair. I'm fine, Chair, with the response that you finally clarified right now at the end. Thanks to the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, I'm taking you to the decision that is sought, and the decision that is sought is in terms of paragraph 14. Paragraph 14, the Piped Gas Subcommittee is requested to note the construction progress report for the first quarter of 2025-2026 financial year, and that there are no new construction projects were undertaken in the first quarter. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Madam Sbia. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. I also support. Members, I'm going straight to item number 9. Item number 9 is the Sasol Gases Monthly Gas Volume Balance Report for the month of May. Please present the submission.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to members of the public, to the board and colleagues. The purpose of this submission is to request the Piped Gas Subcommittee to note the Sasol Gas Volume Balance Report for the month of May. During the month of May, Sasol imported approximately 14.1 million gigawatts of natural gas to the South African market. And the percentage variance of May was negative 0.67, which is within the acceptable limits of our international benchmark. It is recommended Piped Gas to note Sasol Gas Volume Balance Report for the month of May 2025. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions on this submission by show of hands? No question, no clarification that is sought. Members are then requested in terms of the decision that is sought that members note the report for the month of May in terms of the gas that Sasol Gas has delivered in Secunda for the month of May 2025. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Madam Spear. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you very much, members. Members, we're now proceeding to item number 10. Item number 10 is the report on compliance with license and license conditions as well as registration conditions for the operation of gas distribution facilities and biogas production inspected in the first quarter of the 2025-26 financial year. Please introduce the submission for the members.
Chairperson, let me quickly do that in the interest of time. This is a report of compliance inspections that were conducted in the first quarter, and members would have picked up that we normally do this on a quarterly basis, and indicating the compliance fund or instances of non-compliance that may have arisen during the inspections, and also including action that was taken with regard to any non-compliance that might have been identified. Chairperson, in this quarter, we conducted inspections on 19 facilities, and this were in the area of Al Road as well as Savoca. And the table 1 then sort of details, provides an indication of the findings made in relation to each and every one of those facilities. Chairperson, the facilities that were inspected belong mainly to 3 entities, and I'm not going to mention their names, but there are basically 2 of them are licensees, and another one is a company that is basically intending to get into the gas market, and basically with regard to construction of gas operations. Chairperson, in summary, most of the findings related to maintenance of the facilities. I think members will see that on the table provided, we've indicated that in certain instances, there is basically poor maintenance of those facilities. There's overgrown and dry shrubs and grass around some of this, and some of them are actually not properly barricaded as required by the license conditions. And we also then have provided in the report just an indication of remedial action that has been taken by these licensees where there were instances of non-compliance in the past. And the report then also touches on these assets that are in the process of being decommissioned by Sasol Gas. And this is mainly in the area of Avoca and Verulam. These are in Durban, in the KZN province. Chairperson, lastly, then we look at progress made by licensee with regard to just dealing with instances of non-compliance and how those were remedied, and also looking into the issue, the status of the projects that related to certain operations that were licensed with regard to the supply of LNG. And I think I'm not going to repeat that. Those are the same as what was mentioned in the earlier submission with regard to the construction projects. Basically being the fact that there are certain licenses that were issued licenses, but for certain reasons that they've specified, they've not been able to actually start carrying out those activities. Chairperson, lastly, a letter of non-compliance was issued to one of the licensees for failure to comply with Section 16 of its license conditions. And the report is really here for noting, and the recommendations are on paragraph 14 on page 26. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Ngumalo. Members, any questions of clarity on the report? A show of hands, members, if you do have. Mr. Mkize?
I'm largely covered by what is in the report, Chairperson, and ready to note, but I just would like to get clarity on what is the draft gas bill, what is the status in terms of the suggested changes? Are they adequately covering the enforcement, the compliance monitoring and enforcement part? Just would like, because like you said, Chairperson, when there's non-compliance, you write a letter, then give a person a time to comply, even if this person is caught red-handed, because we had followed a light-handed approach. I just want to know if there's confidence that the bill, as in this draft form, has incorporated those concerns. Just an update around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Can we get an update whether the bill deals with a different enforcement approach, which will give the energy regulator teeth to be able to deal decisively with serious contraventions and serious non-compliance issues? Do we have provisions talking to that in the bill? That's the question from Mr. Mkhize. Ms. Shaki would not know that. Mr. Ngumalo and Ms. Khoza.
Good morning, Chair. I think Ms. Mvuyana would be the best person to speak to this issue. But there were some changes that were made in the provisions that are in the current Gas Act, but she can expand on it.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Ngumalo, please proceed, but Ms. Khoza was still talking and explaining, but please go ahead.
I think there's some interruption in the process here. Chairperson, I think I just wanted to say that indeed, as members would know, the bill has been for quite some time. And we have basically made numerous proposals
No,
and
Mr. Ngumalo,
to the policymaker with regard to what, in our view, is supposed to be contained in the.
Mr. Ngumalo.
Chairperson, I've got a bit of an interruption on my side. I can't hear.
Ms. Mvuyana, can you please assist?
What I wanted to say is that basically what I wanted to say is that we do have confidence that the provisions that are going to be in the gas amendment bill will indeed be sufficient to give NERSA teeth and more effectiveness in terms of regulating the industry compared to the state of the act as it is currently. So we do have that confidence, and that confidence is really based on the inputs that we provided in relation to what is supposed to be amended in the bill. So, Chairperson, I think the only thing that we would like to just maybe indicate is that the sooner the bill is amended, then I think the sooner that NERSA will be placed in a position to actually be able to utilize those new provisions to more effectively regulate some of the aspects.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize, I think we can take this up also in terms of matters arising, just to check the status of the bill and specifically the provisions that are in the draft bill with regards to enforcement model that is now in the bill to try and take care of this approach of always having to start from the yellow card position. Even if you have done the yellow card before, so because the licensee will now know what is wrong and what is right, will know what is non-compliance. So to always issue a yellow card for something that is wrong, which the licensee knows that it is wrong, then it is not effective. So we will check if the bill addresses that aspect so that NERSA can be able to become effective and deal with the conduct that is not proper, and be able to go straight to the yellow card for the seriousness of the offense or of the action, instead of starting from a yellow card all the time. That's the question that Mr. Mkhize was asking. So the team will check that specifically on the provisions of the bill and be able to report back to the subcommittee in the next meeting. With that, members, I would like to take you to then the recommendations on paragraph 14. It is requested that the Pipe Gas Subcommittee notes the first quarter report on compliance, actions that were inspections that were undertaken to check whether the licensees comply with their license conditions, as well as in the operation of gas distribution facilities. And that was done in Al Road area of Ekurhuleni in Gauteng. The second decision that is sought is that the subcommittee is requested to note that Sasol Gas's decommissioned gas transmission facilities in the Avoca area, as well as Verulam Canelands of eThekwini in the in KwaZulu-Natal. So I think the rating should have been yes. Sasol Gas has decommissioned gas transmission facilities in those two areas. The third thing that is requested is the noting of the follow-up inspections that were conducted on the Transnet pipeline's non-compliance findings that were made in the previous year, 2024-2025, and also just to check if this licensee has attended to the corrective actions that were put to this licensee. The fourth decision is to note the update on Transnet Pipeline's project to repurpose the Lily pipeline that is transporting the methane-rich gas from Secunda to Durban. The repurpose is to convert it or work on it such that it is also able to transport the regasified liquefied natural gas from Empangeni to Durban and also to Secunda. Lastly, to note the pre-licensing site inspection of Thungela Resources facility based on its intention to apply for a license to operate the gas storage facility in Lephalale, as well as to trade in gas in Mpumalanga. And thirdly, to register the production of coal bed methane in the Lephalale area. Members, these are all the decisions that are sought and they are here for noting. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Madam Sbiya. I also support. Thank you, Mr. Pokula. Thank you, members. Members, this is the last agenda item that was supposed to have been discussed in the open part of the meeting. And at this point, I would like to then close the meeting for the members of the public so that we can consider governance matters. And with that, I would like to thank all of those members of the public that took the time to follow today's proceedings. And I hope that we did not fail you in terms of the expectations in considering these matters and in deliberating on the matters that you had interest in.